Hello, I'm Michael Wax, and we're here to talk today about automobile liability insurance policies. My office does a lot of auto accident cases, and people call up all the time, and when they talk to my staff, one of the first questions that we ask is, did you have insurance at the time that the accident occurred? And we get all kinds of answers from people. One of the typical responses we get from people is, well, I have full coverage. Well, those people come into the office and we get a chance to take a look at their policies, and it's obvious that many of them don't have what would be described as full coverage. Full coverage means different things to different people. So if somebody tells you that they have full coverage, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have it. Let's talk about the various parts of an automobile policy that I believe would make up really full coverage. First off, the most important part of your policy, and the one that is mandated by California law, is the liability portion of your policy. That's the part of your policy that says if you were causing an accident, if the accident was your fault and you injured somebody else, that protects those people in the event that they were injured, if their vehicle is damaged. That's your liability policy. And you can buy liability insurance for policy coverage as little as $15,000 per person, $30,000 for the whole accident, up to millions of dollars. When a policy is $15,000/$30,000, that means that if you cause an accident and the other people are hurt, no one person can get more than $15,000 worth of coverage, and the entire vehicle can't get more than $30,000. That's the way liability insurance works, and it's mandated that you have it. Then you have property damage. That will cover the property damage for the other vehicle. You need to make sure that there's enough coverage on your policy to repair the other person's vehicle if the accident was your fault. If they were driving a BMW or a Porsche or a Mercedes, you caused a lot of damage, you've got to make sure that there's sufficient coverage on your policy to take care of that. Then you've got collision coverage on your car. If you were involved in an accident, you want to make sure that your car can be fixed. You need to have sufficient coverage so that you can take it to the body shop and get it repaired, or if the vehicle is totaled, that it can be replaced. You also have parts of the policy which is known as medical pay coverage. Medical pay coverage is the type of coverage that you have to cover the medical expenses for the people that are in your vehicle. It's a no-fault type of coverage. It covers the people in your vehicle who need to be treated by a doctor as a result of injuries sustained in the accident. So if you have that type of coverage, irrespective of whether you or your passengers have health insurance, MedPay will cover it. There's also rental coverage. That's another optional coverage that you can have on a policy. If your vehicle is in the shop because of an accident, how are you going to get around? You need to have some way to get around. Some people have extra cars. Some people have friends that can lend them cars. If you don't have those things and you need to get a vehicle to get to work, to get to school, then you should have rental car coverage that will provide you with a rental car during this period of time. Another portion of the policy that I strongly recommend that people have, and we are going to do an entire video on that one later, is uninsured motorist coverage, and I'll briefly touch on that at this time. Uninsured motorist coverage is the type of coverage that you have in the event that the other party either does not have coverage, that has no insurance, or doesn't have sufficient insurance. In my opinion, this is the most important optional coverage that's available on your policy. As a matter of fact, it's my opinion that it's as important, if not more important, than the liability portion of the policy. My feeling is that if you're smart enough to spend money to cover injuries and damage to people who you don't know and don't care about, that you should be providing at least as much coverage for you and the people in your car who are your family and your loved ones. So I believe that uninsured motorist coverage is a really important piece of a policy. And like I said, we'll talk about that one in a separate video. So to summarize everything we've discussed, these are the things you need to make sure you have in your automobile liability policy. Number 1, liability coverage. Number 2, property damage. Number 3, collision coverage. Number 4, rental coverage. Number 5, MedPay coverage. And last but not least, number 6, uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. Thank you very much.